Hey, this is Thad Joyner, and you're listening to What Thad Thinks, the one and only podcast on the interweb focused solely on what I think. Proud that you're listening today. We are powered by Better Beans Branding, your one-stop shop for commercial and residential design, graphics, branding, construction, and remodel. Yes, capable of everything. Thank you for listening. Well, hello and welcome to What Thad Thinks. This is podcast number 5, if I'm counting right, 4 if I'm not counting right. I'm Thad Joyner, star of What Thad Thinks, and I want to thank all you loyal listeners out there and everybody that's been tuning in each and every week and people that have been downloading. It's been awesome. This podcast is powered by Better Beans Branding, your kind of one-stop shop for remodel, construction, branding, graphics, signage, and marketing. And I am the CEO of that company. I want to give a big shout out to Mary Lyons, who was a big winner last week. She actually gave us one of our 9 ratings and one of our 2 reviews, and she will be receiving a fabulous Better Beans gift. I'm not really sure if Neal or Katie Lee has sent it out yet, Mary, but you are getting something fabulous from Better Beans in the mail. I'm going to extend that one more week. If you will rate us and leave us a comment on either the podcast site or on YouTube, and it's somewhat flattering, we will send Better Beans will send you a fantastic gift. So I will do that. I will say that I think we're blowing up and having tens and tens of listeners. But I did have 2 very old friends out of the blue call me this week and want the link to this that they had listened into one, and they wanted to find out where to listen to the rest. So a big shout out to old friend Delbert and Dane, who both reached out this week wanting a link to this. So I can't believe that, amongst over 45-year-old men, I've become very popular lately. So, and here is, I guess it's time to introduce everybody's least favorite member of this team, and my not so important partner, Neal. Are you there?
Hello,
Whoa,
Thad.
Neal.
Whoa. How are you?
Where's the flower picture, man?
I just told you.
Where?
Oh, it's
Is
gone. It's gone. It's over there. It's over there.
You took it down or you moved it?
It's down for the next 20 minutes.
So you didn't want to get made fun of with the orange flower in the background?
No,
Do you realize
change is coming?
Do you realize, if your people are watching on YouTube, that the spacing between your map black and white things behind you is now different? Some are narrow and some gaps are wide.
As a CEO of a branding company, you would know that balance isn't absolute. And if you go further back in the image, you'll see that both sides match each other. And I don't have to show that now, but you'll have to trust me.
Your bald head almost fits exactly in the gaping. Oh, right there. That's it. Now you're in the frame.
Yeah.
Well, we talked Father's Day last week, and we knew we were going to get some fabulous gifts. How was your Father's Day?
Really good. Really good. A lot of fun. Tried to remember that I still love my children and I demonstrate that they still love me. So it's fun.
Awesome.
You?
Awesome. Yeah, it was great. We were at the baseball fields all weekend. Finished first loser, second place in the baseball tournament. So my son hasn't been allowed to eat this week, but it was a good time, a great tournament. It was hot as crap. We were in South Georgia in Valdosta, and I mean, it was oppressive just how hot it gets this time of year. But I was happy to be playing baseball. I got a fabulous Father's Day present, as usual. My family really goes all out for me for Father's Day, so I will show everybody just how great my family is, how they think about me and love me to no ends. A charger.
I mean, it's portable though.
A charger.
Put that up again. Let me see that thing.
It's called My Charger.
Oh, that is love, buddy. I bet they picked it out by hand.
I bet they got it at the daggum Quick Trip or something. It's terrible. It's fine. It's a gift. I like it. But what'd they spend? $11?
And 5 minutes.
I mean, God Almighty! For Mother's Day, I've got to cook breakfast in bed 3 straight days. Take her out to fine dining, have the kids take her out, give her alone time, give her us time, and buy her, a gift, a minimum of $250 or more.
If you look up Father's Day in the dictionary, the first definition is the shaft. Total shafted.
Well, let's see. Did you get shafted for Father's Day?
Not this year. Not this year because they started picking up on my hints around March. So,
okay.
What'd you get? I will present my Father's Day gift here. So, I don't know how to do this. There we go. You know what that is?
Why don't you tell me?
This is a bonsai. Bonsai! Right? Bonsai. So, I'm pretty excited about my bonsai because for Christmas, I attempted to grow my own seeds. This would not be it. My bonsai did not grow at Christmas or the preceding months after that. So my wife took pity on me and got me one. This is supposed to help me with patience and focus and inner peace. What do you think? Isn't it a nice bonsai? Bonsai. You have to say it like that.
So did you really ask for that, Danielson?
Yeah, do you remember the Karate Kid?
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Mr. Miyagi?
Neal, did you really ask for that? Because that is, if my family would have gotten me the bonsai tree, I think I'm much happier with the Charger than that bonsai tree. No. Next year, you're going to learn to paint the fence, wax on, wax off? Are you having problems with Cobra Kai's or? No.
This is a one and done, right? I mean,
Neal,
I'll tell you what. Let me give a plug here. I got a plug.
Neal.
What?
That is an awful Father's Day present.
No.
And it's maybe not if you ask for it. Maybe not if you ask for it. But that just tells me everything I need to know about you. That you may be the biggest dork I ever met. Like, that is not going to help you with patience, nor is it going to help you with focus. It's going to be a dust collector on your desk until it dies.
No. Today I put a rock on it. This morning when I had one of my cups of coffee, I put a rock on it. I don't know if it helps, but I'll tell you what. We were team was down in Miami earlier in the year, and one of our clients was telling me about feng shui and bonsai and some other things, and it influenced me. It's pretty special stuff.
That's not special.
I love it.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. You like my Charger?
Yes. Yeah.
I think you're just seeing the positive side of everything, and I see Danielson.
Okay.
So the next holiday we got coming up is just 10 days or so from now, right?
Canada Day, July 1st.
Canada Day.
Yeah. Don't you know?
Don't know about Canada Day.
It's July 1st. It's our Independence Day.
Is it? Well, it's not your Independence Day because that's not where you live. And it's not the freedom that you enjoy nor that your children enjoy.
This is true.
But I will say that, on July 4th, we celebrate Independence Day. I have a problem with people that call the holiday the 4th of July.
Like a conflict? You have a problem?
Yeah.
What problem do you have?
Well, it should be called Independence Day, period. Not 4th of July. That doesn't tell you anything about the day. Independence Day tells you everything about the day. And to me, it's a very important celebratory day. It's not just a day for fireworks and picnics and getting together with your family. Like, to me, I actually think about declaring our independence. I actually think about the Revolutionary War. I actually think about the things that came after the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, and just how great and lucky we are to live in this country.
Yeah. I think about barbecue.
Yeah, that's because you're I mean, I don't know why. I don't know because you're Canadian. I mean, maybe it's because you don't love America like the rest of us.
Well, of course I do. I'm here. I love it.
Well, then
the greatest country in the world.
Well, absolutely it is.
One day I'll get my citizenship too.
You should.
I looked at the test a couple of years ago.
So barbecue, though, you did mention that is maybe the most important part of Independence Day.
Yeah.
After we think about how great it is to be an American and all the great things that happen to our country, I do think barbecue is the best part of celebrating Independence Day.
You know you're a barbecue fan. You got a favorite barbecue style, ingredient,
Mm.
geography?
Okay, so this is a long argument that can't be won, really. But let's talk barbecue real quick. Is that first off, barbecue is pork. Period. Okay,
My
so
mouth's watering.
I love brisket, I love chicken, I love turkey. Those are not barbecue ingredients. Those are cooked and smoked meats. The only true barbecue is pork.
Pig.
Pig, period, end of discussion.
I love a good pig.
And the most important part of pig or barbecue, first it's the meat, then it's the seasoning, then it's the sauce.
Agreed.
They need all three of them to make great barbecue, but in that order. I mean, a great pig doesn't need any sauce or seasoning. But if you add a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of sauce, you really win. Right? I mean, a good pig picking.
Oh,
Been a while.
a long while for me.
I don't know what my kids would do if I actually go dig a pit in the backyard and cook a whole pig. Well, maybe my wife would be the one that would have a real problem with it. But
Which part would she have a problem with? Eating?
oh no, she loves barbecue.
Okay.
Maybe me digging a hole in the backyard.
Yeah, it's probably not okay by the HOA.
I'd probably have to buy a pig. I'd probably have to buy a pig cooker.
Yeah, there you go.
What's your favorite barbecue ingredient?
Well, I would back you up. First, barbecue is not a piece of equipment. Like, so when Northerners say, I'm going to go put it on the barbecue, they probably referring to a grill.
Oh, no. Okay, yes.
Barbecue is low and
let's get
slow
that
to
right.
me.
Well, yes, you don't. But I said, what was your favorite ingredient? I didn't ask you what barbecue.
I know, but I backed you up.
I did, but I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for you to answer my questions. If you have to remember, this is what. Listen, Neal, real quick. Today, you're getting a little bit out of line, starting to think that people on here care about what you think. The name of the show, close your mouth, is What Thad Thinks, not Neal. So you're starting to give me like lots of opinions that I'm not asking for. So I wanted you to just stay in check. I mean, I love you, brother, but
you understand comfort zone comes with this, right?
Okay. I am trying to put you in your place a little bit and have you remember that you're my guest here and that you need to just answer, ask and answer. So I asked.
What is my favorite ingredient?
Yeah.
Well, I too am pork.
Okay.
Pork.
What do you like to put your pork on?
Oh man, I'll tell you what, like a good biscuit.
Ugh.
Yeah, a good biscuit or a slider roll. You
are such a Yankee. Like the proper place to put pulled pork is on white bread. Period. End of discussion. Period. End of discussion.
Yeah, not a white bread.
Sunbeam white bread. Well, I get it, but you'd be wrong. You'd be wrong. You'd be wrong.
My favorite.
What about favorite side item? What about side item?
Ooh. Lately, I've been into coleslaw.
Yeah. Do you call it coleslaw? I just call it slaw.
That's slaw. Now, do you like sweet slaw or do you like a tangy slaw?
Sweet slaw is Yankee slaw. We don't eat that.
Okay. Fair enough.
In the South, with nothing but vinegar-based slaws.
I like vinegar-based slaw.
Crunchy, fresh cabbage.
Yes.
Vinegar-based slaw.
Yep. I want it to bite me.
But what? Excuse
I want it
you?
to bite me. I want it bite. Like I don't like sweet.
Hold on real quick. Folks and families that are listening to the show, apologize for Neal's language. I want it to bite me.
The slaw. Sir.
Stop.
The slaw.
Stop. The best side item though is Brunswick stew, and it's not even close. Now, and it's funny that only in the barbecue genre could a stew be called a side item, but stew is a side item. It's listed on the side items in any reputable barbecue joint.
Establishment. Yeah.
And barbecue don't have establishments. Barbecue have joints or shacks, but they don't have anything else. But what goes better with barbecue, Independence Day, We have awesome guests this week, and we need to talk a little politics. We are lucky enough and blessed enough to have Ellen Reynolds and Bernard Reynolds. Ellen is the CEO of the Georgia Child Care Association, and Ellen and Bernard are both the founders of True North lobbying group. Nobody knows more about politics and inside Georgia politics, especially than these two guys. Bernard, Ellen, welcome. How are y'all?
We're great, Thad. How are you?
Hey, Neal, how are you?
Oh,
Thank you,
come
Bernard.
on. You don't mean that, Bernard. You don't mean that at all.
I also would like to submit baby back ribs qualifies as a Southern necessity at any barbecue. Secondary.
It's pork. I don't know. The spare rib is so superior to the baby back. I mean, personally. If I'm going to eat the ribs, I want the big, meaty rib, not those little girly ribs.
We can agree you have to have a rib, though.
Yeah, it's an afterthought. It's part. It's important. They're good. Just like I said earlier, brisket's good, bacon's good. The whole pig is good.
If you want a really controversial stance, my favorite sauce is North Alabama white
White sauce.
That's a great sauce. It's just not barbecue sauce.
It's perfect for chicken.
I love it on chicken. That's my barbecue.
Oh, that's not that's just not barbecue.
I know.
But that's okay.
Controversial position. I came to create controversy for you.
Well, you did. So what do y'all have plans for Independence Day?
Not huge ones, really. We going to spend it with family. Got a lot of family around in the nearby area, so we're going to hang out. And I am one that's guilty of calling it July 4th, but you know what? You made me think that, while I was listening to you, for me, the same excitement that I get for Independence Day, I really get for election days.
Oh yeah.
The whole point of Independence Day was that they fought for our right to vote, which is why I never understand anybody who doesn't want to get out and vote, because literally Independence Day was about them fighting for us not to be ruled by a monarch and to be able to have the right to vote. So, I get that same excitement. I always call those my Independence Days or my election.
Freedom!
Amen, brother. Sing it.
Voting days are like football bowl games during the season.
For us.
We sit there,
geeky
have some
lobbyists.
cocktails, barbecue maybe.
Yes.
I love it. Well, y'all probably get to go to real parties on election days, right?
Back in the day before
COVID, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Y'all got to go to real parties on election day.
Yeah.
Some of us just,
Sometimes
cast our votes.
How many parties can you hit on election night?
That's what I'm talking about.
It's party hopping.
That's what I'm talking about. So you're y'all are lobbyists. Now, to a lot of people on the line today, that's a dirty word, right? People.
Bernard, you want to tell them your favorite joke?
Well, here's something between the four of us. Don't tell my mother I'm a lobbyist. She thinks I'm a piano player in a whorehouse.
That's how much people think of lobbyists. I sent out a little picture to Neal and friends ahead of time, just kind of sharing, and I know y'all share that ahead of time, but it's kind of got a great little thing of what people think lobbyists do, right? We're kind of the second oldest profession right behind, prostitution, right? So it says, what my friends think I do, sit around at glorious dinners every night of the week with legislators. What my parents think I do, meeting with the president on a daily basis. What the other side of the issue says I do, I'm over there clubbing baby seals, baby, I'm the devil. And then what society thinks I do is handing out the cash over to get my votes.
Daggum right.
Then it shows what I think I do is a noble picture of us walking up the steps to the Capitol, going to make a difference in the world. And then it says what I actually do. Basically sit in boring committee meeting rooms all the time with a bunch of other people listening.
Playing words with friends.
Yes, exactly. Sitting there listening to what they're saying, trying to influence legislation. So,
well, I for one, I guess you already know this about me. I'm a big believer in lobbying groups, and for small business owners especially. I am a huge believer in that you need to support your advocacy groups and things that are important to you and your business. A lot of guys that are on here do not know the value that these guys that you bring not only to our industry, but that other lobbying groups bring to their industry. So tell me quickly, who starts the issue? So let's just say I own a widget factory. Who decides what initiates the lobbying relationship or the issue relationship?
Well, it can come from all kind of different sides. It can come from a lot of bad law, and I'm a lawyer and law professors will tell you this. A lot of bad laws come out of one anecdotal story that gets raised to a legislator's attention that impacts a business. I can give you an example of the childcare industry. A public school had a carbon monoxide detector fail, and they had a lot of children pass out and get sick. So a well-meaning legislator wanted to bring legislation requiring every public school and every childcare setting get a carbon monoxide detector. Problem is, good half of childcare centers, maybe more, don't have gas coming into their, into their center at all. So now, because of this one bad story, they wanted to mandate on all childcare centers, regardless of whether or not you had gas coming into the building, that you buy this apparatus. So a lot of times it can come that way, or it can come out of an issue or a trend that people are seeing. If it's, in the childcare industry or the food industry, let's say, you got a negative issue of some sort of food or health and safety issue coming up. Right. So it'll come from a state department that regulates your business. Say, we got to bring a bill, and they go to the governor and say, we need to bring a bill on this to keep kids safe or to keep the public safe on food safety issues. So a lot of it comes up that way. And then in terms of us and how it comes to us is, you build a reputation over time for what you do. And, people get to know that you're effective. And so they'll meet with you and say, hey, I've got a problem. Can you solve this? And some things we actually can't solve. We had someone want us to try to pass something by a general bill that you can only pass by a local bill. And so sometimes you have to say, no, there's no way around that unless we're going to amend the Constitution.
And we have over 40 years experience between the two of us. Ellen started out when she was 12, so that's how
that's how she got there, right?
That's how we stay married happily, right there.
That's right. So, so you have an issue, like I know recently with the COVID issues, when those started hitting, y'all jumped into action for the childcare owners in the state of Georgia. And what would you say your biggest win through all that for your members? What was the biggest win during your lobbying time that you think you got?
Honestly, it sounds very basic, but I think the biggest win was getting the governor to allow our businesses to choose whether or not they wanted to stay open throughout this time, rather than a lot of states picked winners and losers and said everybody needs to close and we'll pick the childcare centers that can stay open. And we just felt very strongly this ought to be the business owner's choice, because the business owner felt like they could weather the storm and stay open. And that was our advice to business owners during this time, was to fight your way through it and stay open. We had to fight really hard for that.
Yeah, no, and I'm very thankful that we won that battle. I mean, my centers currently are enjoying a lot of success through their own hard work, but also because we were able to stay open and during that. Now, not that we didn't take a big hit, we took big hits, but staying open was, guys, seeing my friends. I mean, I've got friends around the country that are still closed today. Like,
and listen, we talked with the Massachusetts Child Care Association. They don't really have one. They talked to us about trying to kind of start one up there, because their governor forced them to close down through the end of June, and yet he was going to start letting businesses reopen sooner than that. And it's, and they've been closed from March through the end of June, and they are dying on the vine because of that. So it was, it sounds like it's something so basic to say we ought to be able to choose whether or not to stay open. But we proved health and safety is what we do, and we're good at this. We do this on a daily basis, prevent communicable diseases, and small business owners like you got to stay open and fight your way through it, are now recovering faster than ones that maybe closed.
Well, look, I mean, I sing Georgia's praises around the country. I know some people in the media have painted that Georgia has more, that things aren't improving here, but I'm telling you, like in Georgia, seeing a mask is rare. We are breathing, we are open, we are running around, we are going crazy, we are working. Inside our businesses, we may have to wear masks. However, going about and doing my day-to-day business, I was in Walmart today. I didn't see a mask. Didn't see anybody with one.
And, I think it just depends on the setting. Like if I'm going to my allergist where people have asthma and have compromised immune systems, I wear my mask to protect them. But, if I'm going to a restaurant to eat, I don't see the point in it, because I'm going to have the mask off the whole time I'm eating. So.
That's right.
For the last few years, Georgia, I think 4 or 5 years, we've been the number one state to do business in.
Damn
I
right.
think we need to commend the governor for making prudent decisions that both balance the protection of the health of our population, but also the health of our businesses. And I think we've come out as a leader in the country as far as that balance, and I think we've achieved that.
Yeah,
No,
you look at all the people that have us as their headquarters in Georgia. There's a reason, and maybe, maybe that's not just our politicians, but maybe that's also thanks to a lot of lobbyists like you guys out there. No?
definitely. One of the things we're working on right now, we're in the waning hours of the session in Georgia. And to just so you know, if you're not involved in an association, I promise you there are people out there that are working to adversely affect your business right now, whether you know it or not. And it's the best insurance you can buy. No responsible business owner should be without a membership in their agency, in their association rather, that is protecting their profession. And one of the things we're working on right now, because we know that a lot of insurance companies are starting to say, hey, we're not even going to defend your lawsuits if you get sued for COVID exposure in your business. So one of the things we're working with the Georgia Chamber on right now is to pass legislation so that business owners can't be sued for COVID exposure unless it's something that was absolutely intentional. Like I know I got it and I come spit in your face, or if I'm negligent, like I can tell you of a gym that I know of where they had an employee that got reported, I tested positive, and they threatened her with her job if she told anybody and didn't tell any of their clients. Well, that's the kind of place you ought to be held liable. But just for general exposure, and all the nuisance lawsuits that come out of that, we're working on that right now on behalf, and that affects every small business listening to your podcast and anybody in Georgia anyway. And hopefully there's that kind of legislation underway for all small businesses across the country. There hadn't been anything on the federal level. So right now you're counting on your state guys to get this done for you.
What do you say for small business owners, and this is most of the guys listening today, what you say for small business owners, local and state politics are way more important than national politics?
Yes. Airline industries, major things like that are governed by the federal government and driven by that. But the rest of us, no, we're all affected by and large. We are state-based industries. What the state does to us is way more important than what happens on the federal level that we all know is kind of stuck in gridlock most of the time anyway.
I try to tell people to give to like every one of their county commissioners, give something to every one of their county commissioners, and definitely join your chambers, whatever chambers you're allowed to join in your area. And definitely join whatever trade association, advocates for you.
Support them, support you.
Absolutely. And that's part of politics. It's like rewarding your friends, right? And so it doesn't matter for us in an association, whether it's Republican, Democrat, Independent, purple, green, whatever. If they're for issues that we're for, we're going to be there to have their back and support them. Right.
Isn't that like part of being American? Like quit being like this is identity politics that we get so into. We want to put everybody in two buckets. But at the end of the day, like for me and my family, it's just issue to issue that we care about, right? And prioritizing those issues.
And that's the way it should be. And, the reason Congress used to be so much better is because all the families actually moved there and lived there and had dinner together. And now they don't do that. Everybody stays in the district. They're just there, for the few days. And then they come home on Fridays, on the weekends to their family. So it's led to this tribal politics and tribal, you've got to be wrong. Well, no, a broken clock is right twice a day. Some things are true, right, even if someone you're diametrically opposed to says them. And, we know on the state level all the time, like your friends today can be your enemy tomorrow and vice versa. So you can't burn those bridges. You've got to keep an open dialogue going. It can't be you got to be with me on 100% or I'm against you 100%.
But we're headed more and more in, I think, our political environment where it's like you're either 100% one way or there's no middle ground, which our country was based on the middle ground.
Yeah. And good, healthy debate, not accusatory debate, not gotcha debate, but real debate so you can get to real solutions. And actually you find that more at the state level, I think, because they do live with these people and you do see them outside of session during the year.
Well, I tend to be pretty conservative, huge shocker to most people listening, I'm sure. But but the state of Georgia that I was raised in, we had great Democrats like Sam Nunn and, like real people that just, they came on both sides of lots of issues. you know, they'd vote for vote with the Republicans on some things, vote for the Democrats or something. They voted on the issue and what was good for the state of Georgia. And so, and those are the people that I like to vote for, period, especially locally and statewide, that fall on the correct side of issue, or not the correct side, just agree with me on issues that are most important to me. So,
yeah, and work together and make things better. You know, when you were talking about pork and then you add the seasoning and then you add the sauce, and if you got all that together, you got the greatest thing you can have. It's kind of that way with legislation. I kind of say it way in reverse. I always say you start out with 150% of what you want, which would be the pork, the seasoning, and the sauce. And then
maybe we should use the term brisket versus pork.
Well, no, I was thinking, I was laughing when that came up. I was like, oh, pork relevant to politics. But I mean, if you get the meat of what you want in that bill, and then you add the seasoning, the sauce, probably some of the sauce is coming off it and compromise. Some of the seasoning may come off it and compromise. But if you got, so I say you start out with 150% of what you want in a bill, you end up with 75%. It's probably a healthy compromise all the way around and a really good bill.
Absolutely.
You know, I agree. Neal, that gap is so big on your wall between those two pictures. It's bothering me. However, you have not made fun of what's behind me, these lovely window treatments. Just so my listening public knows, I'm in the middle of nowhere, Georgia, in my camper. And that's how important this podcast is to me. In a camper, on campsite, using a hotspot. And I brought my microphone with me and my headset. So I brought all that with me for this trip. So don't make fun of these 1970s cornice. I believe they're called cornice boards.
They are, and that is some nice old-fashioned, stressing the old cornice board.
That's right. That's what I have.
Call for social distancing, I believe.
Well, you know, when this stuff first hit, I did come down here with my family for a week, and my daughter and wife hated every second of it, but we stayed in the woods and got ate up by bugs for quite a while.
Well, you know, Bernard will tell you that my version of camping is staying in the Holiday Inn Express. Like, I'm not a camper.
Oh, yeah. No, neither is my wife and daughter.
I'm with them. We'll go to the hotel. You boys can go there.
So, okay. Who is the biggest idiot that you've ever met in politics?
Well, how long?
Okay. How about this? What's just like, give us like a real funny story of someone acting like an idiot that you were working with and lobbying on an issue for.
Gosh. Well, I can tell you, I don't know if it's hilarious.
Both of you have to give me one. Both of y'all have to give one.
It was pretty crazy. 10 years ago, they wanted to start taxing childcare services. So we go to the Ways and Means chair to talk about policy and talk, say, hey, this is going to, hurt and increase childcare more, cost childcare more. He looks at us and his only response is, well, a lot of people thought this world was a lot better off when there was only one parent working. And I was like, okay. So we're going to put all the single moms, it's more than 50% of births are to single moms. We're just going to put them all on welfare then, because I know you're opposed to that too. It's just, they will come up with idiotic responses, some that I can't repeat. Want me to, but you wouldn't believe the things that come out of their mouths.
And one entitlement may be okay, while another entitlement's not. And that's what's funny about our world, is there's not a consistent thought to some of these people.
Oh, well, nor is it with me. I'm all for entitlements that help me, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. Everybody always is.
That's kind of that's kind of the litmus test, isn't it?
Right. I mean, who's not?
That's called scratch my back. Scratch my back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm against it until I'm for it. Exactly. It's like we're for local control until we're against it, and vice versa.
I bought a business one time. Purely because I had a relationship inside of a certain government, and I believed that I'm going to be real careful on all this, but I absolutely believed that I was about to get like this $50 million government contract. So I bought this business that was going to get me this $50 million contract. Well, it also provided that county make public a service that was private. And they had decided to make that service, which is in the waste industry, they had decided to make it public and make it part of people's property taxes, which I'm not for any of that, right? I mean, I'm obviously not for that. But since I got word of it, I bought a business, and believed and had the inside track because of a relationship to get a $50 million contract. So, of course, I'm for all of that, right? However, the word got out on the street. The people of the county voted that out to privatize it, and I got stuck holding, a couple of $1 million worth of equipment that I didn't want, and didn't want to be in the private business. I wanted the easy government contract business. So,
exactly. And
but
that's never easy about a government contract business.
no,
That was kind of trashy to me.
I can tell you another quick story. Another quick story that
yeah, Bernard, I'm so bright. My mom calls me son.
Now wait a minute, you already used that last week.
That's my line.
So I can tell you another one. So we were working, speaking of something you might not like, but when I was a baby lobbyist in 2003, Bernard's going to get a charger so we don't die out on you here. When I was a baby lobbyist, and we were working on passing a tobacco tax, and Sonny Perdue had just taken over. He didn't want to do it, but we were in a recession, and he was faced with it wasn't quite like this. This is even worse, but it was unprecedented losses, and we didn't have enough in our savings account, basically, in our rainy day fund to cover all the losses. And so he was very, begrudgingly agreeing to doing a tobacco tax. Well, of course, his floor leader, Glenn Richardson at the time, absolutely hated it, didn't want to do it, but was doing it because he was told to, because, first governor asked you to do something, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, so it goes to committee. We get ready for it to be put on the floor, and it was supposed to be put on the floor like 2 days later. And much like you, Glenn was like head coach. He was managing partner of his law firm, a legislator, and he was head coach of his son's Little League baseball team. Well, they call just to mess with him and the governor, because Democrats were in control of the House at that time, and say, we're moving it up. We're going to have it tomorrow. So he calls me and says, they just called me and told me they're moving it up tomorrow. I'm just not presenting the bill. I'm just not doing it. So my client, who's counting on me to get this passed, the bill sponsor is telling me he's going to refuse to show up and present the bill. I'm like, dang it, man, I hear you, those mean old Democrats. But he's like, and by the way, when he's calling me, he's on speakerphone in his office, changing into a baseball uniform to go to his kid's baseball game. So I said, he's like, I don't have time. I got to do this. I said, well, I'll tell you what, can you just call me back? Now, I'll tell you what, the first time he was teaching a class, he had to go teach a class. That's what he was. He's also an adjunct professor. The first time he called me, he was heading in to teach a class. Second time he calls me, now he's changing his uniform. Says, I'm still not doing it. I tell you what, I'll get up and I'll say, y'all know what it's about. You can vote for it or not. And I'm going to sit down. And I'm like, dang it, Glenn, those big, mean Democrats, I know they're terrible, but how about you let us start writing a speech for you? If we write a speech for you, will you at least call us back and hear it? Calls us. The man only has a fax machine at his house, doesn't have any email running to his house. So we sit there and read a speech that we have written to him for 2.5 hours, perfecting it, and then fax it to him. And that's basically what he presents the next day. That's what lobbyists do.
Well, I think the other thing is, we're talking about lobbyists. You'll have legislators who a lobbyist will go to them and say, here's a bill. Would you sign, would you sponsor it? They never read the bill. So, I've had legislators chairman call me, hey, Bernard, I think I've got a bill that your client may be interested in. And I'd go to the legislator. I was like, have you read the bill? It does this and this and this. He goes, oh, really? So there's a lot of bills out there that are signed and, people are going to sponsor them, but don't really realize the consequences. Especially.
What percentage of representatives or Congress people actually read the entire bill?
Congress might be different.
Isn't that called staffers?
Congress has staff that they would do like an executive summary of the bill. The House is, there's a lot. Ellen always says, you got 236 members between the House and the Senate. Some are accountants, some are lawyers, some are business people, et cetera, et cetera. You can't be an expert in everything, right? So they do rely on lobbyists, and that's where your reputation can be ruined, is if I tell you one thing and the truth is another.
Yeah, you got to understand, in Georgia, our legislators they share 1/6 of a secretary. They've got about 30 research staff to serve 236 members. So the reason they rely on lobbyists and good lobbyists to tell them stuff is because they don't have time to go out and research it. So imagine you with your business experience, with everything you know, come in and you're asked to make decisions on complex healthcare matters, complex banking matters, complex childcare matters, assuming you don't know anything about that for those business, listeners out there that don't, restaurant owner that doesn't understand, K-12 education and the millage funding formula and those kinds of things. And you share 1/6 of a secretary, and there are 2,000 bills that come through every legislative cycle.
Yeah.
So only the committees that they go through are the ones that really read and know the bills.
Yeah.
There's a handful of legislators that will read all the bills, but
it's
I'll be
handful.
honest. If I was a state senator or House member, I wouldn't, because it'd be like reading Greek to some of those things. So, I mean, yeah, I would depend on.
Tax matters. They're very.
I depend on somebody that knew what they were talking about. Tell me what's in there.
That's what they do in the legislature. Is people are known. Certain legislators are known for their areas of expertise. So if I'm Ellen and I don't run a restaurant, but I'm an expert in childcare, and Thad comes to me on a restaurant bill and says, "Hey, we really need you to vote for state preemption on this bill because we don't need local jurisdictions on, in every county and city creating their own rules about restaurants on this. Please vote for this." And I trust you. I'm going to vote the way you want me to. And in the same way, also, when legislators have questions, they'll call up the lobbyists and say, "Okay, explain this to me because I don't understand this piece of it." And part of what we do proactively is, when that issue comes to us, we go find somebody to sponsor the bill. We get a draft of the bill to legislative council. They get it going, and you find co-sponsors that are hopefully substantial and send a message to their co-sponsoring the bill to sign on to it as you go through the committee process and work that committee substantively to tell them what the bill's about. And then it has to go to the rules committee to get it on the calendar. So that's the second committee you've got to work through. And generally, if you've gotten that kind of support, you can generally hopefully mostly get your support unless it's a highly controversial bill.
Well, each general assembly is 2 years. So 2 years to get it through within, like, if you remember the assembly sales of alcohol, right?
Yep.
You can buy, the liquor stores are open. That legislation took, I believe it was about 8 years. It went through Sonny Perdue. It went through a couple of years with Dill before the constitutional amendment went through, so you could, the local vote and everything. So some things can be done in a year, but larger lists like that, like gambling, I mean, you're talking 8 to 10 years.
We had an issue with us, unemployment insurance benefits for Georgia pre-K teachers during summer breaks that it took us 4 years to solve.
Yep.
And that went all the way up to the Obama administration, Department of Labor getting involved.
Yep.
Not to bore your listeners with too many.
No,
details.
these are. I don't think anybody's getting bored.
So yeah, one last good story that I was gonna say one last good story that I have that you made me go down memory lane when we were talking the other day about doing this podcast was so Sonny Perdue was governor, and Sonny Perdue, people forget, was the president of the Senate as a Democrat before he ever switched parties.
Yep.
And so he knew how to run government, and he read every bill that ever came across his desk. He was one of the rare ones that read them all. And we represented some folks in the disability community, and I had a legislator come and basically cuss out these poor people in wheelchairs that I had brought that were doing nothing but just showing up for the day to testify in support of legislation about how it impacted their lives. So it made me so mad. I went and basically the lobbyists for the other side, right? What they do is accuse me of beating baby seals. They had said that the governor, there's no way the governor could have picked up on this bill on his own, and that it was a sweetheart deal. And if I said anything about it, he was going to go ruin my reputation in the Senate. If I tried to say a word against it in the Senate. And I was so mad about the way he had treated I'm pointing down because I can still picture my friends that were sitting there in the wheelchairs, and they were just shell shocked from being screamed at by a legislator, that I went down to the governor's office to talk to his lobbyist. And I mean, literally I was so mad, like had my shoes off, pacing around, telling them, and the governor happened to walk in. I'm like, "Oh, Governor, hi, sorry," put on my shoes and say, "I just want you to know, ex-legislator just told me that you aren't smart enough to pick up on the sweetheart deal that was included in this bill for the person he's pushing it for. And I just want you to know you're my puppet, that he absolutely thinks you could not have read this bill on your own. So just want you to know you need to check in with me now and everything, because apparently you're my puppet because you're not smart enough to read this bill." Well, let me tell you where that guy's bill went. To the trash. It was dead on arrival after that.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I think I appreciate you joining us before we got to Independence Day. I appreciate y'all's time. I also appreciate your work you do for the Georgia Child Care Association and the other work you do for other small businesses in our industry. Hopefully our listeners listened and paid attention. Hopefully they took your advice and join as many organizations that advocate for their causes out there and support their lobbying groups, because they do great work for small business owners, and we'd be kind of up a creek without you guys. So I want to thank y'all and hope to have y'all back maybe before Election Day. We'll get y'all back on here so we can talk some of the local and national elections and races and polls and all that kind of fun stuff. That'd be fun. So can I have y'all back sometime soon?
Absolutely. We'd love it. And thanks for bringing us on today. And thanks for being such a strong supporter of associations and the work we do, because it takes members and it takes voices to get stuff done.
It's all selfish, Ellen. I do it so I can make more money.
Hey, and that's what we're in the business to help you do.
The American way.
That's right. Thank you so much. Neal, I'm going to ask you to leave too, because you're not really a part of this next section. So see you later, buddy.
See you, man.
So, hey, that was a big time guest that we had there. Who knew that we'd have some real live lobbyists? So there you go. Now it's time for everybody's favorite portion of the podcast. This is what Thad thinks, hurricane style. The first thing I'm going to think, it comes right out of our guest today's mouth. Give your time and money to issues that are important to your business. Your business better care about business politics. It better care about how the government is going to tax you, spend you, regulate you. You better care, and don't spend your time complaining if you're not giving your money and your time to advocacy groups and lobbying groups that are rallying to issues that are important to your business. Number two, grilling ain't barbecue. Let's understand that. Those are two different things. I like to cook my steaks on the grill, but barbecue is nothing but what Neal actually said earlier. It's slow and low, baby. And while I'm at it, Big Green Egg, that ain't barbecue either. A Big Green Egg is for a bunch of men that don't know how to smoke their meat, so they buy this cheap little contraption that does it for them. It's no different than a microwave, in my opinion. Big Green Egg is for, not so manly men. Sugar don't belong in your barbecue sauce. I'll just tell you that too. So whenever you go to make your barbecue sauce, you better make sure sugar ain't a part of it. Learn to smoke a butt right, and you'll always have friends to come over. Major League Baseball is back, baby. 60 games. Pretty pumped about my Braves this year. We'll see how that goes. A 60-game season ought to be a good time. Tolerance, patience, and love are way more important than ignorance and anger. That's on all sides of the issues we have going on in this country. Tolerance, patience, and love, way more important than ignorance and anger. And like Bernard and I were talking earlier, hey, it used to be you could be on both sides of an issue. Don't try to put everybody in just one bucket. People are people. Hey, the greatest rights and gifts that government has ever given its people are independence and freedom. Independence Day on July 4th celebrates that. Guys, please, please start being tolerant of one another. And secondly, start being a little appreciative for the independence and freedom that we have in this country, and show it some daggum respect. Thank you for joining Better Beans branding this week and what Thad thinks. Remember, Better Beans is your one-stop shop for remodeling, branding, construction, graphics, and marketing needs. It's a fantastic company. You go look it up and see it. Remember, leave us a rating, leave us a review. We'll send you a fabulous gift. And I believe Ted and Neal have a webinar coming up in the next couple of weeks. Check that out as well. Come see us at betterbeansbranding.com. info@betterbeansbranding is our email. And I will see y'all next week. Adios.